Very warm welcome to you, and thank you so much for joining us on this special program brought to you by Shelter Incorporated. And today we'll be taking a very close look at all things to do with infrastructure development. I'm currently joined by Mr. Rinos Mautsa, who is an entrepreneur and also has an inclination to all things real estate related. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much. I'm so honored to be here.
Yeah, looking forward to our discussion. May as well pick up on the basic question of what is infrastructure development?
It's a buzzword these days, not only in Zimbabwe, but across Africa, even worldwide, globally, because we're always talking about infrastructure development as a bedrock for economic development.
Right.
And if you're talking about infrastructure development, we are just, maybe in layman's term, we are talking about the development, construction, and maintenance of the basic structures and facilities that are very key and fundamental for the society's well-being and for economic growth.
Right. I love how you said it in layman's terms. Let's try and get it lamer. We find that a lot of developers offer land. And the first thing that one would be able to acquire is the piece of land. Can we call that land an infrastructure?
Well, no.
Right, great. So at what point now, when if I own land, can we say that infrastructure has begun?
So, okay, so if you're looking at infrastructure, we are looking at, it can be broken into different facets.
Sure.
So we are talking about the likes of transportation.
Okay.
So,
okay.
So it's infrastructure in its own. Okay. And we are looking at the bridges. Do we have the bridges? Right. I mean, to cross and to work through. We talk about the roads network. Then we go to the utilities.
Right.
The road network, not only road network, we are talking about the railway network. We are talking about the airlines to connect the trams, the trains, etc.
Right.
That's infrastructure.
Okay.
If you're talking about a city, how are we going in future? How are we going then to transport the people from one suburb to the other without causing stress by congestion?
Right.
You know, and all those things. And utilities as well.
Right.
We're talking about land. So land on its own without the utilities. We are talking about the power. We are talking about the sewer system, the water. As part of the utilities. We are talking about the telecoms. How are we considering the future, the telecoms network? How are people going to be connected? Because the world is evolving. They need to be connected in the Internet of Things. So for you to be connected, those infrastructure that I have highlighted, they need to be in place. Okay. Once we have put them in place, we will say this place is, the infrastructure development of this place is top-notch.
Right.
If I had to put the same in the rural areas, we say the rural areas of Zimbabwe, they are well developed.
Right. I see. Yeah. So the infrastructure placement can happen with the areas that you've highlighted.
Yes.
However, then now we get to the next part, which is the development of those particular areas. Understood.
Yes. And also the public services, they are part of the public of infrastructure development as well. Because we are talking about aspects like if we have good schools in the area, we have good hospitals, they are part of the infrastructure development. Right. Yeah. So all those things, if we are to define infrastructure development, we are looking at all these things in their totalities.
Right.
Yes.
So then, are there organizations that seek to address infrastructure development specifically? Absolutely.
Right. So you can't say I stand for infrastructure development only.
Okay.
So everyone, or if you are looking at the ecosystem of the infrastructure development, you see everyone plays a role in that. Even the citizens, they play a role in that. Right. But remember, when we were looking at the definition, we said the construction, maintenance is one aspect. So who maintains? The citizens, they play also a role in maintaining the infrastructure that is there.
Right. This is before development. We're still maintaining our infrastructure.
The infrastructure, once it's put in place, it needs to be maintained.
Understood.
Can you imagine? It would be a tragedy after putting the infrastructure. I always laugh at a joke that says, if you take some Africans, and it's so sad, you take some Africans, you take them to the best, maybe cities in the world, maybe to the best city in Europe.
Right.
And with the mindset, without changing the mindset, 5 years down the line, they would have run down the infrastructure.
Right.
Why? Because it also has to do more with the mindset. So it means the citizens, they play a pivotal role. Why? Because for infrastructure development, it's not all about the companies or the government. We are talking about the citizens as well. They play a pivotal role. So we're talking about the private sector, we're talking about government.
Right.
And the citizens as well, they play a role in maintaining that infrastructure. But the moment we put infrastructure, and remember in the 90s, we used to have very vibrant, PTC lines, ZESA lines.
Right.
And what happened? People start coming vandalizing.
Right.
So even the rail network, it was solid. So maintenance is coming from the government, but as citizens, we also play a pivotal role.
Right.
So the moment we fail to then maintain, then we are doing ourselves, a disservice in terms of infrastructure development. We'll be going backwards. So the infrastructure that we used to have in the 90s, in the 80s, they're no longer there. So can you imagine if you still had that infrastructure intact? So the investments happening right now in those areas could be channeled towards other new things, and Zimbabwe will become world class. But we are not channeling to the new areas because we still need to go back, because we no longer have the rail networks that were there. We no longer have maybe the power lines that were there in certain areas. So we need to there's a total overhaul that is required for us to remove and restart again, which is a tragedy,
My final question before we end this particular segment, what would you say contributes to the differences in communities' ownership of the infrastructure they have around them? Because you find that the maintenance of these different infrastructures differs in different communities, be it different demographics, be it different income groups, whatever it may be. But the sense of ownership to make sure that they're the ones who contribute towards maintaining their own infrastructure. What would you say contributes towards the differences that we see in ideas of ownership, of maintenance of infrastructure?
So I think maybe I can look at from different angles. But we have to look, we have, maybe without segregating, we have the low density suburbs, we have the middle density and the high density suburbs. And in the low density suburb, the infrastructure is run down. Is it because the people who are there, they are not responsible? Or it's just an issue of mindset that people, they need the awareness, the level of awareness? Or maybe it's because there's negligence from the authorities who are supposed to maintain those things. So it's a combination of many things now. So I think maybe we need to look at it at a higher level to say, okay, as a government, we are saying we are prioritizing infrastructure development. And if we are prioritizing infrastructure development and maintenance, so once we have put infrastructure, there are some rules and regulations. If you do ABC, if you steal the power cables, the copper lines, you'll be logged for good, So all those things, they contribute. But at the same time, the moment I see maybe there are some power lines that are there, but they haven't been, maybe it's down for 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, and nobody's coming to those who are supposed to replace it, because we are paying rates, we are paying for utilities. So those who are supposed to come and maintain, if they fail to come and do that and do so, what will happen? Automatically, we end up thinking it's no longer working. Right. That's where you find kids, they're now playing on those infrastructures, and they are now, they are run down.
Sure.
At the same time, in the low density suburbs, because most of the elite, they are staying there. So once something is broken within, maybe we are talking about the utilities, we are talking about the roads, the authorities, they're quick to replace or to restore sanity. So because of that, they look like maybe they are more responsible. But at the end of the day, it has to be looked at, because if you develop in certain areas and the other areas are lagging in the same city, in our level of economic development, because we are still the same society, the ecosystem is still the same. The economic development will be also suffering. Because why? Because there are some imbalance that are there within the ecosystem. So it will be so difficult for us to move as a nation. So we need to really put some measures as government to say, once we have put infrastructure, how many times have you seen new roads Then maybe there's this big truck with worn out tires. It will come and it will rip through the tarred road. And there's some furrows within the road. And what will happen when it rains, potholes are starting. But nothing happens to that company or to that truck that created that pothole. Right. So we need to be equally, to be a responsible society. To say, if we are talking about Vision 2030 as a people, it's not for a certain political party. It is for everyone. And whether you like it or not, whether you like the political party or not, we are all Zimbabweans. Right. And it is our responsibility to see Zimbabwe prospering. And prospering of Zimbabwe starts with our mindset to say, you know what, because I'm Zimbabwean, I need to contribute to the agenda of development in Zimbabwe. And if you see someone messing up with the existing infrastructure, we take them to account. Even if you see someone who is diverting funds meant for infrastructure as well, we speak out. Right. That's how we start developing as a nation. That's my thinking.
That's it. Very valid and concise point there. Thank you so much for that contribution. We will extend our discussions as we progress. Rinos, thank you so much for your time, and we look forward to speaking to you again in future.
Okay, thank you so much.
All right, there we're joined by Mr. Rinos Mautsa, who is an entrepreneur and also has inclinations into all things of real estate, talking about our infrastructure development. Make sure that you join us for more episodes. We'll be touching on these and more topics. Stay tuned.
A very small percent of smart people can predict what the future holds and invest wisely. Investments that guarantee a secure future and generational wealth. Real estate is one investment that can never go wrong, especially when dealing with a tried and tested company. As Shelter Zimbabwe, having been in the property development business for over 3 decades, we derive satisfaction in giving our valued clients smart housing solutions, providing modern and sustainable built-up residential spaces of unsurpassed quality. Be a smart investor. Discover and experience the joy of owning a home. Yes, where others see just land, we see not only homes, but a lifestyle so desirable and worth living. A redefinition of urban living in a modern, urban, and serene environment. Witness the beauty of a worthwhile and secure investment by a team which brings it all together and dedicated to achieving extraordinary results. With us, you can get a service stand where you can build your dream home to suit your unique taste and style, as we offer an assortment of high, medium, and low-density housing options. We are there to create endless possibilities. Our ultimate desire being to build homes specifically designed with you in mind, to give you the luxury and comfort you deserve. With 1-bedroom apartments for young professionals, 2-bedroom apartments for growing families, and spacious 3-bedroom apartments with ample space for maximum expression. At Shelter Zimbabwe, your dream home is just a step away.